Today, we're going to be rebuilding the Michigan State Spartans in College Football 25. But before we get into that, make sure you go down below and hit that sub button and like the video if you want to see more rebuilds. Drop a comment down below of what team you think I should rebuild next. And without further ado, let's get into the video. One of the main focuses of this rebuild is Aiden Childs. He's the newest quarterback for the Michigan State Spartans under the new regime of the head coach from Oregon State. And I really want to build this team around him and hopefully get a national championship before he leaves for the NFL. In a rebuild I did offline just by myself, Aiden Childs actually transferred out after the first season, which is very unfortunate because I wanted him to be the main star of the show. So we're going to have to make sure that we keep an eye on his transfer status and make sure that he doesn't leave. Michigan State has always had decent running backs, so I want to make sure that we put these running backs behind a good offensive line, and that's why in this rebuild, I'm really going to focus on Big Ten football and focus a lot on the offensive line because our offensive line has no one over an 80 overall that's on the exterior, and the only guy who's above an 80 overall is a senior who's going to be leaving us. So I want to make sure that I give these running backs and the quarterback enough time to throw the ball, and also when I talk trenches, I mean defensive line too. I want to make sure that we have a dominant defensive rush game, and I want to make sure that we enlist fear in every other team. So let's get into recruiting and make sure that we can build this team to be the best possible team. Here are the recruits that I'm going to be looking at for this season. We're going to have a left end, Dan Sukanik. He's a speed rusher. We have a left tackle here. We have a right tackle and a couple athletes. These are going to be our main quarterbacks because if you take a look at these guys, he has 92 throw power and 92 speed. A amazing looking quarterback who can really move out of the pocket. This guy has a 93 throw power and 95 speed. So we're in the running for both of these guys, and we're first on both of their boards as we're beating out Michigan and Northwestern for these two. And I want to keep it that way. If we sign both of them, one of them can move to a wide receiver or something like that. Like I said, I want to keep this in the trenches. So we're going after Carl Burfict, Jordan Membane, Monty Vines, Jamichael Tremental. That is an awesome name, by the way. Tremental. He's going to be a stud on the field, honestly, with a name like that. And then also I have a bunch of other guys on the board here that in the future I do plan on going after some of them. But right now this is all I can do. So I will update you on how recruiting is going to go because for the first games for this season, they don't matter that much as I'm just trying to build a dominant team. Like I mentioned before, Aiden Childs is at risk of transferring, and I truly don't know what I can do to change my playbook around him. So it might be very vital to get one of the quarterbacks in our recruiting class. Here is an updated look at our recruiting class so far. I've done a lot of the hard sells now that I know the three interests of each of the players. So it looks like we have pretty good leads on a lot of these guys. Like this right tackle, these two quarterbacks, we're still leading on them. So that's really, really good because Aiden Childs, like I said before, is looking to transfer out, which I'm going to try to persuade him to stay here. But if he doesn't, I want to have a backup plan. We have this right tackle, some good interior offensive linemen, and some good defensive ends. Looks like we are able to get some more pieces for our defense because as I've been simming, I've noticed that we're scoring a lot, but our defense is giving up a lot as well. So I want to make sure that our defense is good. And it looks like Sammy Stacy is interested in our school. Michigan is catching up to us though, so I may try to put more points into him. This halfback looked like he was interested in us, so we're going to go after him as well. These three wide receivers and this tight end all look very good, and we're leading on most of them. The only one we're not leading on is Cedric Mundy, and it's because I just put points into him this week. It's getting near the end of the season, so recruits are committing like crazy, and right now it looks like we have a good amount of recruits. And so I'm just going to show you guys some of the guys that we've gotten. We've gotten a lot of offensive linemen, and we did get those three receivers that I was talking about, and so that is a big thing for us. Now another thing that I want to point out is that we're going after a couple other guys that I think are going to be really good for our team. Just like Lawrence Slater, he's a scrambling quarterback, but like I said, we can use him somewhere else. This free safety and this other free safety, both are very good players, and one of them is even a gem, so he's basically a 4-star. Another thing I'd like to point out is these two running backs, they both have 90 something speed, and they look really solid. So I think if we can land at least one of them, we're going to be looking good for the next season. These two left guards are both gems, and I was able to pick them up, and they have no offers other than us as of this moment. So hopefully we can swoop in and steal them from UCF. That that concludes our first season, and it looks like we went 4-8 this season and 3-6 in the Big Ten. Hopefully we don't see a massive fall off in our overall, but we started out slow going 4-1. We did pick up some big wins against a ranked Oregon, but we just couldn't keep momentum going as we just lost and won sporadically throughout the season. So hopefully next year we can do better. We have a massive list of players who want to enter the transfer portal, and one even being our junior tight end in Jack Velling. We're going to try to persuade him to stay, but it was not successful. So we're going to try to go after some of the people that have a high chance of wanting to stay that also have a good overall. Now, the best person I see here is probably our sophomore left guard. We're going to see if we can get him to stay, and it's a success. We are able to get him to stay, as well as some of these cornerbacks here, because I know for sure that we're going to need to get some of these guys to stay because we need corners desperately. And it looks like we were only able to get one guy to stay, which does suck, but at the same time, let's see who we can get in the transfer portal. In the transfer portal, there's a middle linebacker, right outside linebacker, halfback, and wide receiver that all have interest in us. So we're going to send the house and try to get them here as soon as possible so we can sign them. But let's take a look at our recruiting class at the end of the transfer portal. Our ending class was one of the top classes, I'd have to say, as we're able to sign 33 prospects, 10 4-stars, and 21 3-stars. There's a couple 2-stars in there, but I'm pretty sure it's because they're gems. But if we go to our recruiting board, we signed a lot of talent and a lot of things that I definitely said we needed for this rebuild. At the start of year number 2, this is what it's going to be looking like for here's what it's going to be looking like for our player progressions, as Aiden Childs is the best player on our team at an 86 overall, but it seems like our overall stayed the same. So I'm assuming what happened is a lot of our players just got better, but we became more widespread when it came to talent instead of having talent in certain places. In year number 2, we're going to go for a lot of team needs, and some of those team needs were actually tackles, and a lot of them were linebacker and defense based. Because we lost a lot of transfers last year, we have to get it back right now. And so we're going to be going after guys like Bob Kamara, Ciergo Earl, DeMarcus Gann, Emmanuel Gee, Danny Mulligan. All of these guys look like really good defensive players, and a lot of them are gems up here near the top. Even though they're a 3-star, they're going to be overall of a 4-star. So it'd be really easy to get them. We are now in week 11, and we're getting a ton of recruits. And I mean, I had a ton of recruits coming in from weeks 1 through 8, honestly. So if you want me to go a little bit more in depth in my recruiting style and all that, I can totally make the videos a little bit longer to go in depth here. But right now, I think I like to keep the rebuilds a little bit shorter. For now, I'm going to show you guys some of the players we're trying to get. We're trying to get Martin Madden. He's a wide receiver, and I'm thinking I want to become tight end university, just like Iowa or any other tight end university pretty much. Because right now we have John Gallagher, Sean Fenney, and Max Rotofsky, and then another jewel down here in Ted Cantwell, and we actually have a chance at getting all of these guys. So we're going to hop into this game against Michigan. As of right now in the season, we're doing pretty good, and we're sitting at 5-3 and 4-1 in the Big Ten, which is totally doable, and we may be able to get into the national championship playoffs. Sadly, we're not able to take down Michigan as it's 37-3. I typically sim the games. I don't play them, but I wish I would have hopped in here because this would have been a big game to win, but hopefully we can get our get back on Michigan next season. To end off the season, we went 6-6. We went 5-4 in the Big Ten. Sadly, that is better than what we did last season, but still not where we want to be. So let's see if we can get a good transfer crew, a good recruiting class, and then get some really big upgrades to the team. After a better season than last season, it looks like Aiden Childs wants to leave, and we can't let that happen, but I don't know if we're going to be able to persuade him to stay, and we are. So he's going to stay for his senior season. Hopefully we can turn this team around and turn it into a powerhouse team this time. And it also looks like a middle linebacker wants to leave who is an 81 overall. He seems like a really good player, and he doesn't want to stay here. It's the same way with this tight end, and we're trying to become tight end university, and we're not able to keep him either. Let's see if we're able to keep this sophomore wide receiver. It does look like we're able to keep him because he wants to keep playing with Aiden Childs. And as for everyone else, we still have 2 persuasions left, so I might as well go for the best guys here. And it looks like we're going to be able to keep this left outside linebacker. And as for this halfback, he does not want to come back. So sadly, we are going to have 3 players transfer out. But other than that, it looks like we're in the clear. This draft class ended up being the 28th best in the country, and we signed 35 prospects, but there was 33 stars. And and we signed a ton of players, but a lot of them were gems, which I really think will help us in the future. There's not a ton of upgrades on our offense, but as a team overall, we did go up by 3, so that should say something about the future of this team. Overall wise, it looks like our team is the first in the Big Ten, so I think I'm gonna hop into this week 0 game against Notre Dame just to see how the team plays like and what we can accomplish. It's a big third down here with 3rd and 2. It looks like the crowd is rocking right now, so let's see if we're able to pick it up. I see a guy open over the middle, and he does catch the ball, so we get the first down. Let's make sure we go on 2 clock, and we're gonna keep running the ball here just so we can drain this clock and make sure that we win this game. We have another big third down, and it's already hit the 2-minute warning, so if we can pick this up, we can pretty much end this game. And we do pick it up. So it looks like this game is probably going to be over because Notre Dame is already taking timeouts, and this is a big win to get early in the season. Notre Dame has just used their last timeout, so if we can pick this up, we inevitably end the game right here. And it looks like we get a good block, and we do get the first down, so the game is officially over as we're going to go into victory formation and drain this clock all the way down to 0. This is a big win to get at the beginning of the season because we may be able to take this momentum and coast through the rest of our year. We're about halfway through the year, and we have roughly 5 or 6 commits right now, and we're still gaining on a lot of guys, so we're just going to keep going after them and making sure that we can get as many guys as possible and have the best draft class. And we're also going to play a couple games because right now in the rankings, we're ranked 20. So if we can get a couple easy wins over Illinois and other teams, I wouldn't be shocked if we can end up playing teams like Michigan and Wisconsin and have time to be able to play all of the games for the national championship. I actually decided to sim through the rest of the season, and we made it to the Big Ten championship, where we're playing USC, who is also 9-3, but they're 8-1 in the Big Ten. So we're gonna play this game and see if we can win it. We're gonna be jumping in here with about 2 minutes left in the 4th quarter, and we're near the goal line. It's 1st and 10. I think I should just let this run out to the 2-minute warning, but we're not gonna do that. We're gonna snap it right before the time hits, and we're gonna see if we can get a good run off. And it doesn't look like we really do, as we only get 3 or 4 yards there. Not really my best run, but definitely something we can work on. It was only actually 3 yards. So we're going to run it again as we get a good block, and we're going to be able to run right up the middle and score for a touchdown. Now we just have to make sure that we stop them on defense. I hate playing defense in this game, so I'm not going to. So we're just going to see if they can stop them, and they do. So it looks like we're going to come out of this game with a win, but we just have to burn out their 3 timeouts, which should be pretty easy, and I'm not going to bore you with that. So we're probably just going to cut to the part where I'm kneeling for the win. And after some unfortunate events, we're actually going to have to pass here to see if we can get a first down. It's 3rd and goal, but hopefully someone can get open or Aiden Childs can scramble. We're getting rushed here, but Aiden Childs is able to stroll out, and he gets a touchdown. Let's go. This game is ours 100%. There's no way we lose it now. We have won the Big Ten championship as we're going to host this trophy, and hopefully we get a first-round bye in the college football playoffs. Unfortunately, we don't get a first-round bye in the college football playoffs, but we're going to be going against Penn State in the first game. We're in victory formation here at Penn State, and all we have to do is kneel it out, and we have won this game to make it on to the next round of the college football playoffs. This is a super big win for us, as it means we're one step closer to getting that national championship. Now we get to face off against 8th-ranked UAB, who's 12-1 this season, so let's hope we can upset them to make it to the quarterfinals. I didn't have to step in there at all. The CPU was able to take care of UAB, who in this game was a 79 overall and made it to the first-round bye of the national championship playoffs. I truly don't know how that's possible, but the sim in this game is just so whack sometimes. You could be a 99 overall school and lose to an FCS team. It's honestly crazy. USC got a 31-28 win over Kansas State and is meeting us in the Rose Bowl game once again, and we've already beat them in the Big Ten, so I don't think we'll have any issues with this game. And I was correct, as we absolutely stomped USC in the Rose Bowl game 41-14, and I was correct, as we absolutely stomped USC in the Rose Bowl game 41-14, and I didn't even have to step in. Aiden Childs is just him. He had an amazing game, and we're going to be taking this all the way to the playoffs. Did I say playoffs? Because we're already there. I meant championship game, and we're going to be going against rank 5 overall Boise State, who went 14-1 and was able to defeat the number 2 ranked Georgia. So let's hop into this game and see if we can destroy Boise State to get that championship trophy. The last play of the game, and it's a Hail Mary for the touchdown. If we stop this, we are your national championships, and it's up, and let's see if we can intercept it. And it touches the ground. We are your national championship. Michigan State, you are officially rebuilt, and you're going to become a dynasty for years to come. I don't know if some of you know this, but there's actually 2 more quarterbacks on the roster that are near an 80 overall. So this is big news for Michigan State fans, because we're not going to be losing anytime soon. And with that being said, thank you for watching today's video. Let me know down in the comments below if you watched all the way through. Let me know what I can improve on as a content creator, because I'm looking for suggestions on how to revamp my content to make it more enjoyable for the viewers.